Yeah, normally I don't know how to start these videos, What's up, guys? Welcome back. I feel like we just get straight into it. So the last video I done, the previous video, I'll show it up here, was I spoke on walk the path that is intended, and that which does not follow stays behind, And I feel like that is a powerful quote, as it speaks on focus on your purpose, focus on your true mission, focus on God's purpose, your true calling, and everything that doesn't align with your purpose stays behind, it falls back. And I found that to be so powerful because I've been going with this addiction for quite some time, trial and error. Sometimes I fail, sometimes I succeed for a short amount of time. And I notice is that when I am on my purpose, when I am on my true calling, regardless of if people agree with it, disagree with it, if people don't understand it, if people don't resonate with it as much, the fact that I feel it in my heart, I feel it in my spirit, I'm gonna put it straight, is that this is something that I'm supposed to be doing. I spoke before that everybody has a true purpose. God's giving them a gift on what exactly is their mission on this earth, And I feel like our main purpose on this earth is basically to choose yes or no. But while choosing that, you need to also spread His name, spread the word of Christ, So I got a lot of confirmation from people, and it came from multiple people. It came from, wow, you have such a powerful voice. And deep down my insecurity was, I actually don't like my voice. I don't like the way I sound. There's a lot of stuff that through childhood, becoming a baby into a boy into a man, or young man into a man, I've been going through this journey of trying to find myself, trying to feel secure about myself, trying to love myself. And that was one thing that always stuck with me, is I don't really like my voice. So I changed it. I started speaking differently. I started talking to impress, changing my vocabulary, my tonality, trying to impress. And just a couple years ago, I said, you know what, I'm going to do me. This is the way I speak. This is the way I sound. Obviously, there is a professional way of speaking. There is a more fluent and proper, per se, way of speaking. And obviously, every day I try and improve that. But in overall sense of the way I sound, my tonality, the way my words flow, it's just something that not a lot of people can replicate, as your voice is you, that is who you are. So coming with that, people have been saying to me, wow, you have such a powerful voice, you have such a boldness to you, that they say you should speak more, you should be out there spreading this inspiration that you have, spreading your story. And I always never looked at it lightly, always never looked too deep into it. As of recently, I said, you know what, I feel like those people were right. Every time I speak, every time I express how I truly feel, who I truly am, people tend to resonate and people tend to hear me instead of just listen, But if I shy away from that, if I speak so somebody else, or so I can try and speak to, if I speak in a sense of trying to impress the next person, sometimes it comes across as non-authentic. And I feel like authenticity takes you further than any skill out there. Being original, being you, people resonate with that so much more. So it came to the sense of, people were saying that, wow, you have such this powerful voice, you have such a boldness, such a authoritative voice to you. You should speak more, you should preach. That was the word they used. You are going to become a preacher one day. And I never ever thought about that until I started poetry. I started writing down, I started journaling. With that came to the sense of me making YouTube videos, and I always found it to be so me, so peaceful, you know. So it came to the sense of I never really look at the views as much. Obviously we all want to be known, we all want, not in a sense of being famous, but we want to be heard. But then again, if one voice hears you, why should you consider about the views or the amount of likes that people get if you've changed that one view, you've changed that person's life? And there's I know I'm just going a bit off script, but it plays along with the whole thing. There's a quote or like analogy, I like to use that word, analogy, that I read somewhere, and it goes, this guy was seeing this boy by the ocean, and on the sand this boy was playing with these starfish, you know. And I don't really know much into it, I just saw the overall view and took from it. So this boy was playing with these starfish, and on this beach there was 1 million starfish on the beach just before the shoreline of when the sea breaks onto the sand. And then the old man went to the boy and said, "What are you doing?" The boy said, "No, I'm trying to save these starfish. They're drowning, or they can't survive." And he takes one starfish and he throws it as far as he can into the ocean. Then the man says, "How are you going to save all of these starfish as there's 1 million on the sea, there's 1 million on the sand? How are you going to save all? Don't you think you're wasting your time?" Then what the boy said spoke to me. The boy said, it's not about how many you save, it's just about saving that one starfish, you know. And as I read that, I took a step back, and I was so moved by it, you know. I was so moved by it that it was almost confirmation that I need to speak more. I need to share my story. I need to be authentic. I need to love myself again, you know. So from the previous video that I done, it spoke on walk the path that is intended. So walk your path, walk your purpose, and everything that does not align with your purpose automatically falls behind, stays behind. And I looked at with so many successful people that I know, successful people that I see on the internet, is that when they align with their true purpose, nothing else phases them, you know. Whether that be in their studies, whether that be in their gym goals, whether that be in their relationship with Christ, you know. So just that day when I recorded that video, I decided to stay at home afterwards, because normally I go to school, I go to lessons. I decided to stay at home. I really wasn't feeling well mentally. Come to think of it, it was more spiritually. My spirits wasn't really, it was really fatigued, you know. So I stayed at home, and I never get the itch, you know. In the morning I woke up, I never get the itch in terms of the night before. I had a plan on, I'm going to make more videos, I'm going to speak more, I'm going to write more, I'm going to put down more poetic rhythms on page, and I'm going to speak them out. And in the morning when I woke up, I normally set a time for myself to wake up, but as of recently I started to notice that I oversleep. So in the morning my alarm is set for a certain time, and as soon as the alarm goes off, I wake up and then I go back to sleep. And then when I wake up after that, I feel so sluggish and so dull and so slow, so, you know. So that morning started off horribly for me, where I thought I was going to follow my purpose, follow what's intended. And then from then it became, because I was fatigued, because I was slow, I was sluggish, it became, oh, now I need to get the edge off, I need to get that kick, that dopamine hit. So that's when I started itching for the substance, you know. From then I started fighting it throughout the morning, throughout the afternoon, and it came to the sense of where I was so irritable I started feeling some type of way now. But this is the difference part, the difference about this time, because I have felt this before, and sometimes I overcome it, sometimes I don't, I relapse. The difference about this was it was more physical. I started feeling physically irritable. I started becoming angry. I started becoming itchy. I don't know how to put it. I started tingling, because at this time I don't really, and I'm gonna go further down the line with this. It's just I decided to take a break from following my other purpose, which is photography, or I wouldn't say purpose, but my other passion, which is photography. I started to take a step back and focus more on my schooling, on my work that needs to get done. And from that, the momentum basically clouded me. It stopped. So bringing that up again in terms of photography was kind of difficult. So in terms of cash flow, I wasn't really getting as much, you know. So I'm stuck at this point where I don't have money to afford this addiction. Plus I don't have time. Plus there's so many things in my head that I need to get done, that I need to talk about, that I need to accomplish in terms of my purpose. From that I started ruminating about my past, in terms of I know this feeling happened before, and I can't really do anything about it. And so I decided to sit with it. But I noticed sitting with this feeling that I need to almost release, I need to get the edge off, it made it even worse for me. So just to cut a few parts, came into the evening where I started going to gym. I started picking up the momentum of finding clarity in that. There was an itch, and now before I went, I knew that I was going to get, because I was able to, to almost get a few savings from my own. And I decided before gym I'm going to indulge in the substance again. And from that, there was just a lot of blockages from me getting to that space, getting to me taking that pull. And from then I decided to, or I never decided, but it came upon me where I broke down. And the term anxiety attack was the first time I actually felt it. I've heard people say that this and that, but I've never actually truly resonated with it, because I haven't felt it myself before. And this was the first time where I actually felt attacked through anxiety. And I started to breathe heavy. I started to twitch. There was an itch, and I was just moving up and down. I was pacing, I was breathing heavy, and I'm saying I just need to get to this place, but there's blockages, And I feel like it just came from a lot of things built up in me that I needed to release, and at that moment it all came out at once. So it came to the sense of where as soon as I was about to indulge in this before heading to the gym so I could release, as soon as I started indulging in it, it brought no sense of peace to me. It's like I was chasing something that made me feel even worse. So as I was indulging it, of course it helped for those few minutes as I was indulging in it, but as soon as I put it down, it made me feel even worse, because now my head is clouded, my breathing is not even on point anymore. It made my heartbeat race even faster, and there was just a lot of stuff that was going through my head, and I started ruminating again. So I said, okay, let me sit with it. I'm gonna keep it in, I'm gonna keep it in. I'm holding it in. I decided to go to the gym, and I went into the sauna, the steam room, and people say normally that is a good stress reliever. Sure. As I went in there and I sat, and this is where this powerful phrase that I'll speak on this afterwards, where they say just sit with it, Whatever you're feeling, whatever emotions you're carrying, whatever baggages you're carrying, sit with it and feel it. you know. So in the song I'm feeling it, but as I'm feeling it, like I'm getting all of the emotions are coming up at once. It was anger, it was disappointment, it was greed, because I feel like I needed to have more of that substance. It was like agony, it was frustration, it was sad, you know, sadness. It brought upon me as I was sitting there. And as soon as I jumped out, you know, I tried myself, got changed, I decided, no man, there's something wrong here. And fortunately, and I really wish somebody has somebody that they can express their true self and be vulnerable with, I decided to hit up my partner, you know. And I told her, I said, hey, you know what, I'm not really feeling too well, and I don't need comfort, I don't need solutions, I just need to tell somebody, I just need somebody to be there. And as we were speaking about it, you know, I wasn't really sharing as much, but as we were speaking about it, there's a phrase that came on me, and she said, like, have you turned to God yet? You know? And then as we started talking a little bit about that, I said to myself, I said, but God don't want me, you know? And as soon as I said that, I broke down, you know? Once on the call, we were messaging and voice noting and all that. But as soon as she said that, like, have you ever tried reaching out to him? And then when those words came out my mouth, that's when everything just flooded out. Now, I'm not the type of person in terms of my emotional vulnerability in that sense, but as I'm saying, I don't throw tantrums, I don't scream, I don't shout. So I settled it, and everything just flooded out. The tears just flooded out. As soon as I said that line, I said, like, God don't want me, you know? Why must I go to him? I feel like he don't want me. And as soon as I said that, I broke down. I was in the car and I broke down for, I'm a man then again, so it was for 20 seconds. 20 seconds is quite long, but then again, it was, wow, it felt like a lifetime to me. And I broke down, and I just started apologizing. After saying that line, I started apologizing to him, and I started speaking to him, you know. And after those 20 seconds, like, you know, I took a deep breath, I wiped myself, and then what broke me down even more, I never shed a tear after that, but what broke me down even more was I felt him and I heard him. I almost felt this sense of peace, like grazing upon my shoulder and saying, are you okay now? Are you fine? You know, I'm here. I felt somebody say that I'm here. And it got me thinking to the sense of, through all of these built up emotions, through all of the stuff that I'd never dealt with in the past, through everything that I've been holding on to, it finally came out in the sense of I started having this attack because it became too much for me and I didn't know how to deal with it. I turned to the substance never helped, it made it even worse. I decided to go and lift at the gym never made it work. I decided to sit with it, as in not do anything and actually feel it, that made it even worse for me. I decided to share it with someone, as I decided to talk, I decided to tell someone that I am not okay, you know. That never worked out for me. But the second I spoke to him, the second I allowed him in, that 20 seconds changed it all for me. Because that was when I actually submitted. I put my pride aside, I put my ego aside, and I decided to give it all to him. And I find that to be so powerful in the sense of us as men, we tend to, or society, the way we were brought up, men, you're supposed to be strong, you're not supposed to be vulnerable. Never submit yourself. Never be submissive to a woman, to another man. Always be masculine, always be on point, always be strong. There's some parts that I do agree with. as I feel like men should be leaders, men men are the head of the table for certain reasons, and women are their rib cage, for certain reasons. I find masculine and femininity combined together should be is so powerful. You can't have one without the other. But there comes a time where they say a lot of, whether it be good or bad, a lot of something is bad for you. So having a lot of strength and having no weakness to balance that out is having a lot of having a lot of pride without having that submissive side to you is a lot. And I'm not talking about in the sense of the physical. What makes this story, what makes those 20 seconds, what makes that whole attack so powerful is in the sense of, this is not a physical, this is not a mental, this is not an emotional battle that I was facing. This was a spiritual battle that I was facing. So I just wanted to share that story with you in the sense of, there's a lot of ways to release, there's a lot of ways to let go. But through my experience, I noticed that there's a lot of stuff that men pile up, that men hold on to, that don't release, that don't know how to deal with their emotions, so they hold it in. And there is only one true way of letting that go. And it's through Him, it's through Christ. And with those 20 seconds, I allowed Him to enter into my life, and I asked for help. And I submitted. I pushed my pride aside and I submitted. And let me promise you something. After I wiped my tears away, do you know how refreshed I felt? I felt so much at peace. I felt that somebody's got my back, more in all of the senses, the spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional. My partner was there for me emotionally, but physically I was not physically with her. The gym was there for me physically, but not there for me emotionally or spiritually. The substance was there for me mentally, even though it was destroying me, but it gave me a sense of peace in that moment. But afterwards it came all crashing down. But there is only one true way, and it's through the Holy Spirit, it's through your true calling. That's something I want to share with you. In the next few videos, I will be talking deep about what I just said, the story that I just gave you, in terms of the pride, in terms of how to release, in terms of purpose. I just find that to be so powerful. In those 20 seconds, I let out years of baggage. In those 20 seconds, I let out years of baggage. But that's just me. Please like and comment. I would like to hear your thoughts on that. And if you ever had a personal experience like that, or if you had any experiences like that, I would love to hear from you, and we can have an open conversation about that. But in the meantime, subscribe. I will be going a bit deeper into mental health, into finding your true purpose, to pushing your pride aside, and there's a whole lot of stuff that throughout the years I've been holding on to, and I feel like it's time to share my experience. Maybe somebody can resonate with it, maybe somebody can hear what I'm saying, and maybe you're feeling similar way. Maybe you are going through an addiction, maybe you are going through a tough time, and I just hope that we can make the world a better place by being there for each other, as I want to be there for you, But that's just me. This is Stones, and Solo Harmonies. Thank you for watching.